I get it. It's not your usual content. It's not a reaction video. Although that will, in relation to this video, that will come in 9 months' time. And I'll get onto that in a moment. But yes, I get that 1% of the Catter crew is probably going to be attentive to this video, which is completely fine because I know how much people are done with my shit when it comes to live tweeting during a race weekend. But this is something that I wanted to do for fun. And it's going to be very, very interesting to reflect on this video in 9 months' time because I'm either going to be a prophet or I'm going to be a complete dumbass, which is probably going to be the latter. Hello, everyone. It's Liam Catterson here, and we are doing the F1 2023 predictions for this season, as the season is about to officially get underway this weekend for the Bahrain Grand Prix. I thought I would do something that is a little bit of fun. I follow a bunch of F1 content creators, and they do their own F1 predictions for, well, they've done so for 2022, 2021, you get the idea. And yeah, I'm not an F1 content creator, but I thought because of the fact that I do love my F1 so much, as well as the fact that this is something that is a little fun, I thought I would throw out my predictions for this season on which driver will finish where. I'll start from 20th all the way up to 1st, as well as give, brief explanations because I don't want to, go on a tirade. I usually do that, so I'll try and keep things short because we've got 20 drivers to go through. Yeah, the idea is when it comes to December, I think it is, when Abu Dhabi concludes. Yeah, I thought I would react to this video to see how right I am and how wrong I am. And yeah, because I just have this gut feeling that I am just going to be completely wrong, but we'll see what happens. So why don't we get into my predictions for the F1 2023 season. I'm not going to be including any drivers that might fill in a certain driver for certain reasons, like, of course, Drugovich is rumoured to replace Stroll because of the fact that that Stroll has banged up his wrist, or anyone who's out because of COVID. This is just going to be the, I guess, official 20 drivers on the grid. So, with that said, in 20th, I have Logan Sargent. I'm not expecting too much from Williams this season. It seems like they, from pre-season, they have shown a bit more of a progression from last season, which is really, really great. As well as the fact that I do feel like Sargent is going to be a bit more of a confident teammate for Albon than Latifi was, especially with the fact that Latifi, I feel like after Abu Dhabi 2021, he never really regained that confidence. And Sargent has shown some promise with him being a very, very good qualifier. Although I do expect Albon to outshine him, I feel like Sargent will give him a good run for his money, especially with the fact that this is his rookie year. So I'm not expecting miracles from Sargent, especially in Williams, which I'm not expecting to skyrocket up the order this season, but I do expect Sargent to be the one who will be finishing at the bottom. He might score a point or two, but that's where I'm putting Logan Sargent for this season. Tsunoda in 19th. They were pretty much last season in no man's land, and with testing, they're not really showing much confidence, in my opinion. And not just that, though, but there has been a lot of hype in regards to Nick de Vries. And I just don't feel like Tsunoda is going to outperform. I feel like this is going to be a very, very obviously pivotal year for Tsunoda. But I feel like he is not going to be able to live up to the expectations that are there for him, which does suck because I do like Yuki, but I feel like he's just not going to outshine De Vries this season. But we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, I feel like given the fact that I've placed him 19th, and Yuki is a likable character. I feel like I'm gonna be shooting myself in the foot by the end of this year, but I don't know. There's also this side of me that's suggesting that, like last season, AlphaTauri are going to be in no man's land. 18th, I've got Alexander Albon. I mean, he had a really, really neat season in terms of returning to the F1 grid last season. And like I said, Williams have shown a bit more of a promise, in my opinion, in pre-season testing. Of course, that could completely wither away when it comes to the first race in Bahrain. But I do feel like Albon is going to score a couple of points. He has shown, I'd say, a bit more confidence. I feel like he's gelled in well with Williams because obviously Red Bull was a bit of a difficult time. It is a very, very rough program. But he definitely felt quite at home last season. I feel like he is going to be cemented more in Williams with a bit of a better car, I would say. But like I said, I'm not expecting too much from Williams this season. I do expect a couple of points to be scored by Albon especially, and that's why I'm putting him in 18th. 17th, Nick de Vries, the rookie. It's subjective. We've had a lot of, commentary about if de Vries is technically a rookie. He is, in my opinion. Anyways, that's besides the point. Like I said, AlphaTauri, I feel like, are gonna be in a bit of no man's land, but de Vries has shown by his bosses and whatnot promise. His bosses have praised him very, very highly, and he definitely did deliver. I would say he had the final nail in Latifi's career when he had that opportunity when he replaced Albon last season for one race. And I do feel like de Vries is going to be very, very talented. He will try to extract, like Gasly, I would say, last season. I feel like he'll try to extract the most when he can out of that AlphaTauri. 16th, we've got Oscar Piastri. McLaren. Pre-season testing was great for them, wasn't it? Yeah. So I'm not expecting Piastri to beat Norris. I mean, Piastri has shown some promise in his junior career. And that McLaren is, it's not really instilling me with confidence. And obviously there's been a lot of uncertainty. I mean, even there's even been talk with the bosses in regards to how there is that lacking of confidence with the McLaren. So I'm not expecting much from Piastri. Like with de Vries and Albon, I'm expecting maybe a point or two, but I'm not expecting him to shoot up the championship. So we'll just have to wait and see what does happen with Piastri. But I mean, I do hope he can be on par with Norris, because obviously with Ricciardo, it was a really, really difficult season for him last year. So I do hope that Piastri does give Norris a bit of a run for his money. But I'm not expecting too much from Piastri in his first season. I mean, this is his first season as well, like Sargent. So I don't want to be unfair and, expect him to get a podium or whatever. Especially with McLaren in preseason testing, I don't expect. To be fair, I feel like McLaren, and this is probably going to bite me in the ass, because they could bring further developments that will really shoot them up the order a bit. But I do expect them to finish 8th in the constructors this season. So I feel like Piastri is probably going to be 16th when the season comes to a close. In 15th, Zhou Guanyu. Alfa Romeo, I mean, they started off strong last season, and then they kind of dwindled. As we get further up the order with, Alpine and Aston Martin, which really surprised me, I feel like things are going to be a bit closer in regards to certain battles. And I feel like with Alfa Romeo, they're main competitor will be Haas this season. But Zhou Guanyu, I mean, he did all right in regards to his rookie season last season. And I do expect him to probably bag a couple of points, but I'm not expecting him to beat Bottas. Although I don't expect too much from Bottas this season either. I feel like the Alfa Romeo will be, all right. I feel like it will pip McLaren, but I don't expect them to shoot up the order. And Zhou Guanyu, I feel like he will still be a decent enough driver, a decent enough second driver to Bottas. That will score just a couple of points. So yeah, not expecting too much from Zhou Guanyu, but I'm hoping that he does have a step up in regards to this season. 14th, we've got Nico Hülkenberg. Hulken back. So podium, right? Yeah. So I'm not really expecting Hülkenberg to get the better of K-Mag. I feel like K-Mag, especially with last season and him getting that miraculous pole position, K-Mag is going to be beaming with a bit more confidence. And I feel like Haas are going to be in a bit more of a comfortable position. Obviously, Mick was costing the team, and they decided to have someone with a bit of experience and someone who, is a decent driver. I'm wanting Hülkenberg to shoot up further in the order. I am hoping that he is a bit higher than 14th. So this is one prediction. Like, if he ascends higher in the championship by the end of the season, this is one prediction I will be happy that I'm wrong about, because in my mind, I feel like he's going to be 14th, but I'll be happy if he, ascends. But yeah, I feel like with Haas, obviously they are trying to give themselves a bit more of a boost. They obviously had like Alfa Romeo last season, they had a really, really decent start, and then things just, apart from that miraculous pole position from K-Mag. But I'm expecting things to be a bit more stabilized. I feel like there's going to be a bit more confidence, especially with Hülkenberg. He's a decent driver. He's got that established past with him. Obviously, there are a few heartaches in regards to the fact that he hasn't scored a podium, especially when he should have. But I feel like he will be able to bring the car home, and in doing so, be able to give a bit of confidence in Haas because of the fact that they won't be financially screwed. I mean, they've already had to reduce their pit wall, of course, to 3 seats. In 13th, we've got Valtteri Bottas. So yeah, Bottas, we know he's really, really great in qualifying, and I feel like there's going to be a bit more of a closeness in regards to who's going to extract the most of the Alfa Romeo out of him and Zhou, especially with Zhou Guanyu being in his second season, and Bottas is, I guess you could say, he might be coming to the end of his F1 career. Within a couple of years' time, you can see him retiring. But he's still, I still feel like he's a very fundamental asset for Alfa Romeo. And I feel like it's going to be a very, very, like, especially with the fact that I expect them to have a bit more of a, I don't know, I feel like Alfa Romeo might have a bit more of a consistent pacing, I guess, for this season compared to last season, because they started off really, really decent in 2022, and then they just dwindled. I expect them to be a bit more in a, I don't know, constant place. In 12th, I've got Lando Norris. Again, the McLaren doesn't seem to be giving me confidence, and I still feel like they might be 8th. I don't know. 7th, if anything, but it's just very, very difficult because preseason testing wasn't giving me confidence, and Norris was really, really downbeat. I mean, obviously, there were reports that he punched a wall in preseason testing. There seemed to be reading of his character that he wasn't really confident with the car. And as well as the fact that the higher ups have said that the McLaren, it could do with a bit of a work along the season. But Norris is a decent driver, and I feel like with 2022, when Ricciardo couldn't really match to Norris's level, Norris will be the far superior McLaren driver. Granted, this is Oscar Piastri's first season, and you're not expecting too much, and Norris is still in his young years and all of that, and he's shown a lot of promise as the seasons have gone by. So I feel like Norris is going to try and drag that car as much as possible. So I've got 11th, Lance Stroll. Now, Stroll is an okayish driver. I mean, he does... there's obviously a lot of talk about his father, of course, leading the pack in terms of, giving him a seat and all of that, and being responsible for Aston Martin being on the grid and all of that. So people might disregard Stroll at times. But he does have a bit of decency to him when it counts, when he is given a decent enough car, I would say. Racing Point had a bit of a neat car a couple of years ago when Perez was last with them. And I would say Stroll was in a bit of a similar position to where I'm ranking him for this season. He's not going to outshine Alonso, but I do feel like he will score a decent amount of points, especially with the Aston Martin being an outstanding car this season, apparently, because pre-season testing, they were the talk of the town. Red Bull were even considering them in regards to teams of being wary about. And when you get Red Bull talking about you, it's like, okay, well, that's when shit is getting serious, I would say. So, yeah, although I feel like Stroll and, his ability, it will not outshine, Gasly or Ocon, but he will, be able to deliver. So we're getting into the top 10 of things with K-Mag in 10th. Now, I feel like this is a bit audacious given Stroll and how mighty the Aston Martin is compared to Haas, where, they might not be as promising as Aston Martin, but K-Mag did a really, really neat job last season. They brought him back after being absent from F1 for a bit, and he delivered. And they've got two consistent drivers in the team. So rather than halting things midway through the season, Haas might be able to eke a bit more out, which gives K-Mag an opportunity to capitalise. Yes, like Alfa Romeo, Haas had a really, really great start to the year, and then they kind of dwindled, which obviously contributed to K-Mag being in a very, very neat position in the standings last season. But like I said, I feel like there might be a bit more of a push forward if both drivers can obviously keep it out of the wall, which I think there is a bit more of a confidence there. Obviously, these last two seasons have been a bit of a tear in Haas's financial situation. But we've got K-Mag, we've got Hulkenberg, and I expect that K-Mag will be able to eke out a bit more of the 2023 car should, the updates keep coming along over the course of the season. In 9th, I've got Esteban Ocon. This was hard because there was only one other choice I was going to have in 9th place, and that's his teammate Pierre Gasly. And they're both, I would say they're both equally talented, and Alpine have really got a very interesting season on their hands, because they're both very young, and they're both very hungry to capitalize on a really neat opportunity. Sure, they're not, both are, I guess, one-time race winners, and they want a bit more. And obviously, the Alpine can do as much as possible before it blows up, of course. Hopefully, they've got that fixed. I I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a very, very close championship for Alpine in regards to who's going to be the top dog at Alpine. So that's why I've got Gasly as 8th as well. So yeah, I'm merging them two together. Gasly 8th, Ocon 9th, because it could go either way in my mind. The way I'm seeing things, Alpine are probably 4th, 5th best team, depending. It depends on where, on what's going to happen with Aston Martin, especially with Stroll, because I feel like with Alpine, they've got a really, really solid lineup. I'm not as much confident as with Aston Martin, but they do have Fernando Alonso, so, you know, make of that as you will, because, you know, 2-time world champion. Although, obviously, Alonso, who I'm putting as 7th, I'm speeding things up as well, because, you know, I'm rambling on and all of that. But, yeah. Alonso 7th, best of the rest. Yeah, he's a 2-time world champion. Yeah, he has had that precedent of making bad career choices, etc. But I feel like we've got a changing of the guard, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, Aston Martin have been the talk of the town in pre-season testing. They seem to be the best of the rest, behind, of course, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. But if they get this right, this could be Alonso's best season since 2013. Granted, that season, yeah, it wasn't really Alonso's finest hour in terms of you know, where he would rather be in terms of a championship. But it was a lot better than 2014, where things just went downhill for him. But this could be a really, really solid opportunity. Heck, I mean, we've had Alonso on the podium before, ever since his return. So I'm expecting Alonso to grab a few podiums this season. If Aston Martin's pace is genuine, I'm expecting Aston Martin, maybe Stroll the one occasion, Alonso a few occasions. I'm expecting to see Green on the podium quite a few times this season. So I feel like Alonso might be in the, you know, best position he's been in for the last several years, really. So that's why I'm putting him in 7th. Number 6, George Russell. Mercedes, yeah, it seems like they're going to kind of have a bit of a repeat of last season, albeit a bit better. They seem to have firmly stated now that they are ways behind Red Bull and Ferrari. And I see Ferrari having that consistency, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it depends if we're going to have a repeat of 2022 where the engines were blowing up left, right and centre. And, you know, I don't want to relive that trauma. But, yeah, Red Bull, they're just in another world, and I'll get onto that in a minute. But I do expect Russell to be 6. And just for the reason that, I feel like, you know, Ferrari might have the strongest, well, I'd say the strongest pairing. It's been that way for the last couple of seasons, of course. But with the fact that Sainz has got a car that might be more suited to him, and, you know, Charles is more adaptable, I can't see George surpassing Sainz or Leclerc. As well as the fact that the Red Bull are on another level. I can't see him surpassing Perez, who I've put down as 5th. Which I'll get onto in a moment, because I've made some bold choices in regards to Hamilton. So yeah, but it's going to be very, very close in my mind between Perez and Hamilton. But I don't see Russell surpassing Perez whatsoever. And I feel like Perez is definitely going to be a bit of a hindrance for Russell. Maybe Hamilton at certain points. But that Red Bull is on another level. And yeah, I definitely got Perez as 5th. I feel like, I don't know, I just have this bad feeling inside of me that this is not going to be as much of a great year for Perez than it was last season. I mean, especially with the fact that I feel like Hamilton, who I've got as 4th, there might be a bit more confidence this season. I mean, the beginning of last season, he was just not having the best of times. I mean, they've regarded the W13 as one of their worst models, but as a reminder to keep pushing forward. But Hamilton did seem to find his footing with the W13 in the second half of 2022. So with this being a bit of a step up from, of course, last year's car, I feel like there's going to be a bit more of confidence with Hamilton. And that's why I feel like he's going to be a bit more ahead of Russell this season than last season. In third, I've got Carlos Sainz. The Ferrari, this Ferrari seems to be more suited to Sainz. It seems to be a bit more understeery. You know, Sainz has been, he's been a bit more confident about the car than his teammate. But the reason why I put, I feel like Leclerc is definitely going to be the more, faster driver overall. There is that confidence. But, I definitely do feel like Leclerc does beat himself up quite a few times. It might be understeery, but Leclerc has shown in the past with an understeery Ferrari that he can extract the most out of it. So, yeah. But I definitely do feel like this is going to be a bit more of a confident year for Sainz if the car is more suited towards him. So, yeah. In second, and I hate to say this because ideally I want this guy to be first, but I just cannot see it happening. I've got Leclerc second. I feel dirty saying that because, like I said, I want the guy to get his first championship. I want the words Charles Leclerc, champion of the world, to be echoed by December. I just don't think it's going to happen though, because the Ferrari is not showing it's got speed. It's up there. I think a lot of people are saying that the Ferrari is going to be the second fastest car of the season. But there is not much confidence compared to, obviously, who I've got as the champion for 2023, Max Verstappen. Max is confident. He is like Thanos in Infinity War with how he's been acting in preseason testing. The car is gelling to him. He is coming into the season a two-time world champion, and he's got no worries at the minute. Whereas Leclerc, like I said, Leclerc is one to kind of beat himself up when, there could be, like, the guy should stop beating himself up, right? So, although I do get it. Like, I always beat myself up all the time. But, like I said, I do feel like the Ferrari is not going to be as strong as the Red Bull. I feel like there is no sweat at the minute for Red Bull. Everyone is so certain, and everyone is saying that the Red Bull is the faster car in terms of what they saw in preseason testing. Obviously, Ferrari could have an ace up their sleeve, but I doubt it. I feel like Max has got this nailed down. I mean, the Leclerc can adapt to an understeery car, but it's about nailing that car as well. And I feel like Verstappen might have this on. I say he might have this on easy mode. I don't think he's going to be as dominant as he was last season, but I feel like Verstappen's got this in the bag. So I don't want to say that deep down, but yeah, I'm just hoping by the time I react to this in December or whatever, I'm going to be wrong and that Leclerc is the champion. I will never be more happier about being wrong in my life if Leclerc is champion. But I just feel like given the preseason testing, given the confidence that Red Bull have, given the confidence that Max has, and given the kind of uncertainty in regards. I mean, Fred is not breaking a sweat whatsoever in regards to the potential of the Ferrari. But of course, we're getting conflicting reports about how the Ferrari is on track. And you've got the Red Bull there, who is just like piece of cake. So those are my predictions, basically, for where these drivers are going to finish for 2023. I've gone on a long time, so that's great. So when it comes to the reaction side of things, I'm probably gonna abridge it or whatever. So I'll try to make sure to timestamp this. But yeah, those are my predictions. So we'll just have to wait and see what's happened for this season. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can check my videos on the right if you want to check out more of my content. You can also subscribe to my media feeds and channel if you want to. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys take care now. See you guys next time. Toodles!